Welcome to Elevated Life, Real Wellness and Transformation podcast, where we walk alongside the internally driven individual as they transform their life through wellness, movement, mindset, and personal responsibility. If that's you, you're in the right place. Let's jump in.
We're going to do something a little different on this podcast. We like to talk a lot in kind of big, broad thoughts and, talk about kind of all the tools and all the things that you can use to, propel yourself on your journey or whatever. And we thought, let's, let's dig into some topics about right now, some current events type things that
Dun, dun, dun.
yeah, we try to stay maybe controversial in a different way.
Yeah.
but
Sure.
but not wading into the muck of the news, so to speak, or that kind of stuff. And we thought, no, let's try something new. So here we go. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Do you want to launch it off the cliff, sir?
I think
You're looking at me like, no, and I'm just toss that ball right back into your court. So I guess what we're going to talk today are the Epstein files that have just dropped. Super disturbing. And yeah, I want to know your thoughts because I have been very vocal around the house. And honestly, on my own Instagram, I just dropped a reel on there about my thoughts with the Epstein files. And I'm curious to yours because you have not responded to, and maybe you're just being the strong, divine masculine and letting me work through my feelings on this. But yeah, I'm super curious. And then I'll let the listeners know how I feel.
Well, I would say it's definitely. So we're talking about, the 3 million pages or whatever that just dropped like a few days ago, because there's been several versions of this. And, it seems like there's still a lot that hasn't come out.
Yeah.
Which is more disturbing, I guess. It broad strokes, it makes me realize how much of a pawn, the average person is, how much we just we're fed the exact things that we need to keep the level of anxiety and frustration and anger, to keep it right at that perfect boiling point. It's like if you're cooking pasta, the powers that be, whatever that is, the deep state, whatever.
Parasitic creatures that aren't even human.
They like to keep us at that boiling point, without the foam coming over, like when you're.
Do you think some foam has come over? Not to just jump in right there, but I feel like this is a foamer.
Really?
Yeah.
How so? I'm curious about that.
Well, I think especially for women. I think maybe, and I don't want to, I'm sure there's some dudes that are pissed off, but the idea that people aren't like just godsmacked on a massive level to me is quite shocking, to be honest with you. Like I believe that mostly women are, because we are more emotional beings and men tend to be logic sometime to a fault because they're so afraid of tapping into their divine feminine because they have both, just like women have divine masculine. And I think part of it too is that people are just, they don't know how to compute. They're almost like they can't digest it in their psyche because it's so disgusting and vile. Now, there's a whole host of people me being one of them, who has known for a really long time that this was going on because we have this thing called the internet where you can search these things out. And for those of you OG QAnon before it got corrupted and politicized, these things were coming out a long time ago, even before QAnon, right? There were stories of people who, you would hear stories of what they witnessed from the elite in the, what do I want to say, in the Vatican, in the kings and queens, the rulers of the world, that were all kind of poo-pooed away,
Mhm.
right? And from mainstream. And so, this is like, for me, I already deep dove into this a really long time ago. And it took years for me to metabolize it. And then I stepped away from it because you can only hear so much just absolute debauchery before you're just like, okay, I can't look at this anymore. And then with the release of these, just a couple, in my opinion, documents, because what, 3 million were released, there's like 10 million more. And then what do we not know about?
Mhm.
Right? Like, so it just has like welled up inside of me again, where I don't know if humanity will um move past this. Um, and maybe I'm wrong in that, but I don't know how to move past it. Like, I mean, what system you're in now. You know who rules the world, and they're all involved. So, this whole notion of, oh no, this is just, Donald Trump and he's the biggest pedo. No, he's late to the fucking game. This shit's been going on for a long time. So, anyway.
I just saw the meme again today of, it's like a split screen, two dudes, like not quite Mad Max style, but, in like battle gear or whatever. And one of them saying, the system is broken. We need to fix it. And the other one says, no, the system is working exactly as it's designed. We need to tear it down. And in my mind, it's definitely just another example of the latter.
Mhm.
And I think one of the things that you're talking about is a and how people are going to digest it. It ends up almost being kind of similar to like a boy who cried wolf thing.
Mhm.
And because, if this stuff would have come out really like in bulk, let's say even the first time Epstein got arrested, in whatever 2012 or whatever that was, um, our society wasn't jaded enough to be able to handle it without going, like without losing our shit,
Right.
basically. So what had to happen? Me Too had to happen. The whole I'm with her thing had to happen. We had to get slowly more and more desensitized to the idea that this happens everywhere. This is just what people do.
Yeah, and COVID, I would say, had to happen as well.
All the things,
Because
all of the sign offs.
questioned anything except for the few people before COVID. Like, that was a little bit of a backfire and now it's coming out in these files that that was planned.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure.
Bum, bum.
My my gut instinct says nothing is gonna happen.
Oh yeah. In terms of like people going to jail.
Oh, no, no. I'm talking about a change in society. I don't think anything's gonna happen in a change in society.
Hmm.
I don't think because it's it's more of the same, and it's already been normalized.
Mhm.
So there's a certain set of people that are never going to believe that this kind of shit happens. It doesn't matter what they see, what evidence there is.
Yeah.
It's always going to be the other side is making shit up.
Right.
It's always going to be that no matter what.
Yeah.
And then there's a certain set that are already so demoralized that this is just, oh yeah, more of the same. We already know all this stuff happens.
Yeah.
We know it's been happening forever.
Yeah.
So what does this one matter?
Yeah.
Like none of it matters.
Yeah.
So I don't foresee any sort of anything coming from it. It's gonna be mass outrage right now.
Hmm.
There's gonna be certain sets of people that are gonna try to use it to gain whatever they're looking to gain, whatever little bit of power or influence or whatever, because they can say, I'm against this. I'm gonna fight against this. But then next week there's gonna be something different.
Yeah.
And then it'll all be gone. And it's gonna go like my again, maybe I'm wrong, who knows? But I don't see a galvanizing force that is going to unite people that doesn't directly impact them. And this is still a us versus them thing. So the average person who's even remotely paying attention is still just getting a little bit of the information,
Hmm.
and it doesn't impact, we're talking about the average person who, has to get up and get the kids ready for school and then get off to their job and do whatever fucking job they're doing and then try to go to the gym, hopefully. Oh, and, do whatever that is, go to their kids' practices and then try to get dinner made and then they're looking at the bills and it's like, okay, I'm doing all of this and we're falling further behind and, we've got more credit card debt than ever. And, all of those, the kitchen table things that we've heard about forever,
Yeah.
those are legitimate. And this shit is not that.
Yeah. I agree. I don't see like anything like happening in the population except with exception for two things. The feminine rage is real. And because women have been poo-pooed for so long, I have a feeling that this is going to push the divine feminine in a whole new direction. And I can't say what that is because I don't know, but there's some massive feminine rage. I mean, I've experienced that. And I think the other part of that is that, because if you ask me, okay, well, what are we supposed to do? Well, the same thing I did 15 years ago when I found out about this. I focused on myself. I focused on growing my own food, trying to not be part of the system because they're in charge. They're not going to not be in charge. And, the foolish say burn it all down, but then there's a power vacuum. And guess what? Average Joe isn't going to be, who actually gives a shit about humanity, isn't going to be put in that power vacuum. That's not going to happen. They're just going to groom another person and put their own shit in. So, uh, really, the answer, in my opinion, which is my answer for everything, is go within.
Mhm.
Take care of yourself, right? Take care of the people around you. There's no amount of, there's really not, our hands are tied. It's just really curious to me that, um, oh, this just drove me nuts the other day. So I have to say it specifically,
All right.
right? When Donald Trump came out and he's like, we just need to move past this. We have bigger things to talk about, like healthcare. And I thought, motherfucker, these people are eating babies and the babies are sucking cocks. And you're going to tell me about my fucking healthcare? Like, you can piss the fuck off, which I've thought that about healthcare apart from this anyway. But it's like, we just need to, it's so just, we need to move past the fact that children are being raped and tortured and babies are being eaten in ritualistic practices by these power parasites. And really, we just need to move past it to get to healthcare. Like, I just is shocking to me. And I think women in general are just more fucking pissed off. because there's been women and ladies and whatever coming out talking about the entertainment industry, Hollywood, and politicians and power players that they have been raped, they've been tortured, their feet have been cut off. I mean, blah, 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 all the things for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's just like, oh, she's crazy. She's crazy. The same way people respond to people that are like, oh, I was abducted by an alien, right? Oh, you're fucking crazy. That's not real. But there's millions of people that it's happened to, but they're just crazy. Like, I'm so, it just drives me bonkers. This drives me bonkers that it isn't like, I guess, more outrageous, but then, what's the answer? If you want to burn it all down, well, you're going to burn yourself down with it. So, because it's all tied together.
Yeah, so what happens with the feminine rage that you're talking about? Because it sounds antithetical to the divine feminine.
I don't know. I really don't know, but I just feel it brewing so hard. It's like an elephant in a room to someone who is an energy reader that is just growing every single day. And so I'm not exactly sure what that's going to be directed at. If it's going to be directed inward into our own families and just doing the things that we need to do, or if it's going to, because, I don't know. But it's a massive energy. It is. And it's hard because I battle this, right? Because there's part of me that's like, okay, I don't want to feed the beast energetically. So I don't want to send any kind of hate or any of that kind of stuff because that's what these people feed on, right? That's what they feed on. But then the other part of me is like, motherfucker, like Joan of Arc. I want my fucking Viking outfit. I'm about ready to just go. Granger's like zombie bat that he made like in homeschool 10 years ago. I'm just like, oh yeah, I just want to whip that shit around and then I'm like, no one escapes karma. They just don't. So I, at the end of the day, have to trust that what comes around goes around. And I don't know what that looks like. And there's, even when I say that, there's part of me that just wants to punch myself in the face. But yeah, I don't think the population is going to move past this, especially women. I do not believe that because women and children are the biggest victims in this whole shit show. And I think we're just so tired. And I know there's, the pendulum over here. You looked at me, you're a rapist, or, all the way to the other side where it's actually happening. But I just think we're so sick of being uh, told to shut up and sit down. And especially with this, especially with children, right? Where the mothers of the planet are just fucking pissed. We're pissed. And we don't know where to direct that energy currently. But I'm telling you right now, if we all figured out where we could direct that, and oh man, that would be like Power Rangers blast. Just yeah, because there's rage.
Where are you seeing that?
Well, in my echo chamber of people who give a shit. Yeah. And I know I live in an echo chamber. And of course, it's with healers and, people that are in my echo chamber.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because I don't listen to anything mainstream because all of it's bullshit. All of it is. You're being told how to think, how to believe, oh no, my dude didn't fuck a baby. He's okay, but he's in power. Oh no. Oh, the Clintons, no, they weren't in there. Oh, the Obamas, no, they're for sure not in there. Oh, Trump, he's the ringleader of all of it. or the other way around. Oh, now Trump has nothing to do with it and blah, blah, blah. So I just, yeah, I'm not listening to anything mainstream. And you know what? I think a huge part of the population isn't either. Because why would you listen to anything mainstream anymore? Why? It's all curated, it's all fake, it's Hollywood.
Do you ever get concerned because at some point, you know, like you're saying, mainstream isn't mainstream, but just like you said, there's a, if we burn it all down, there's a power vacuum.
Yeah.
There's an information vacuum as well.
Mhm.
And, something that we've seen quite a bit is people aren't genuine.
Mhm.
And, if we are going to believe, which I think we both do pretty strongly, that, there's this, whatever it is, group, entity, whatever, that has this control, why wouldn't they have control over the outside of the mainstream voices? Because they have to know as much as we do that, CNN isn't the voice to the people anymore. It's people doing this shit.
Yeah.
So why are the people doing this shit not corruptible?
Right. I totally get that. And so I have to, first of all, I listen to my gut. I have a very strong intuition, and there are things that I read that maybe even are skewed in the direction that I would believe, but I can tell that it's skewed. And the truth lies somewhere in the middle, right? Um, but because I have been researching this for decades, I know that a lot of these things are true. The only thing that really is gray in my mind is the exact some of the names, not all of them, because some of the names have been coming up for decades and some of them haven't, right? So all I know is that the puppet masters that are in charge of all this stuff, they are friends in the back room, right? We all know that politicians are friends in the back room, most of them. And then they come forward and pretend like they're fighting each other because they love to divide the people. Because how do you divide and conquer? Or how do you conquer? Through division. And so while we're busy fighting and saying, no, Trump's not involved. No, the Clintons aren't involved. Blah, 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 blah. They're up there fucking babies. I mean, that's just, I know it's harsh and a tough pill to swallow for most of the population. Um, but that's just the facts. And so, I'm never going to believe anyone 100%. My gut is always going to win over what anyone says. So, it's using discernment, really.
I guess my question though, and the point of what I was saying is, if there is a feminine rage, it's going to be harnessed
Mhm.
and it's going to be used for a purpose.
Mhm.
Um, how do you know what that purpose is? Like,
It's a really good question.
how do you, how do you not make the same mistake? Not you personally, but you
Yeah.
in general. How do you not make the same mistakes that have been made time and time again when it's this exact same thing where we're going to have two groups of people and they're going to be pissed off at each other
Mhm.
because I'm blaming you
Yep.
for whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then we get the ruckus
Yep.
and then that dies down because, we realize, oh, guess what? We're being manipulated. Look over there. There's this next thing to be manipulated by.
Right.
Why isn't this the same thing?
It could potentially be, right? And at the end of the day, anyone who's blaming anyone, like we all need to be pointing our fingers at ourselves. Just like in V for Vendetta, right? When the big scream comes on and he's like, if you want to know who's responsible for this, look in the mirror. Like we have just slowly but surely let this go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn inward, check myself, which I've already started because I didn't know that I had so much rage about this until it came out. I thought, well, shit, John, I thought you like dealt with this years ago. And I actually, like, Clint had clients last night. I didn't. I had clients cancel out. So I had like a rage dance. I rage dance. I put on Rage Against the Machine and just moshed like it was 1992. It was so lovely because I had to move stagnant energy and I want to get it off of me, right? We're finishing the year of the snake. I need to get this stuff off and then go inward and say, okay, what now that I, you know, have this information, which I had it before, but I told you a couple of days ago, as an OG conspiracy theorist, there's part of you that is hoping it's just a conspiracy.
Mm.
There is, because it's so awful that you're like, do humans really, is this what we do? Like, which is why I don't believe these people are humans. But anyway, um, so then when it comes out, you're like, no, motherfucker, this is true. And then just having to digest that. But I don't want to feed the beast. So I'm just looking inward to go, okay, what can I do? What can I do? I already don't feed the systems, right? As much as I possibly can. I don't feed into these systems. And so, yay. And I'm just going to continue to do that. And I know this sounds just so fucking cliche, but I'm spreading love. It matters what you do in your everydayness. And that's because love heals. It just does. And I don't know how to deal with walking out, sending love to these people yet. Like, I'm just like, don't know what to do because when you say the name Jeffrey Epstein, in my mind's eye, I have his head and I'm bashing it into my knee, but I know that that's just feeding that. So I'm like, okay, how do I send this person love? Because love heals and conquers. But I guess I'm not there yet. If I'm being honest. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with all the feminine rage with us, but I know that it's building. I do. And we'll see. We'll see. People probably will just keep fighting about it because they're addicted to fighting. They're addicted to dehumanizing their neighbor. That's what if you support this guy, you deserve to die. If you support this guy, you deserve to die. I don't get involved in any of that because I'm not in a cult, which is what politics is in general. And yeah, maybe nothing. Maybe we're just to the point where we're so fucking exhausted from being played so hard that we just sit down for a second and go, well, what's in my control? Me. I'm in my control. So that's the only thing that I can do is control me. And hopefully so. And if we do that as a collective, then our frequency will raise and people who want to stay in the 3D world can stay in the 3D world, and then the earth shifts, and those who are moving on to 4D can move on to 4D and maybe not be a part of this parasitic system. So there's the deep dive into Jana's conspiracy brain.
Yeah, hopefully that happens. We'll see. Hey friends, if you're getting something out of this, connect with us on our social media platforms. We're at CJ Elevated Life _ on Instagram and TikTok, and CJ Elevated Life on Facebook and X. We're answering DMs, sharing daily content, and building community with people ready for real transformation. For now, hit subscribe wherever you're listening, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. We drop 2 new episodes every week. And if this episode resonates, share it. That's how we reach more people who are ready for change. You can also find everything at cjelevatedlife.com. All right, let's keep going. I have my doubts.
What do you think?
About what?
This whole situation. Like, I want to know. Spill the tea, buddy. I'm sitting here puking into the mic, and you're just like, yes. I want to know. What do you think? You think that people are just going to move on, and then next week it's going to be whatever the next thing they decide to cast out so they can suck off of the fear, anger energy?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be that female rage that you're talking about.
Hmm.
I think, unfortunately, it's easily manipulated.
Yeah.
And, we've seen that time
Mhm.
and time again. And it's going to be manipulated again. And it's going to be directed at individuals. We're going to have, obviously, by all accounts, it seems like Epstein was the horrific, horrible, beyond words, horrible person. Uh, but he was a pawn,
Yeah.
and the rage is going to be against a pawn.
Hmm.
While, if you think about a chessboard,
Yeah.
all the stuff in the back row that stays untouched.
Yeah.
Because here's the next pawn I'm going to give you,
Yeah.
and then you know that female rage is going to go against that, and it's going to be used to manipulate systems, or to not even manipulate systems, to continue the process that systems are already built for, to keep us exactly where we are.
Yeah.
And I mean, I can empathize with the feminine rage, but I don't think it's valuable, because I think it ends up, when you try to fight this kind of stuff with emotion, you lose sight of what you're really doing. And that's the reason why we can go from, thing to thing to thing to thing to thing so fast, because the emotion fades. And then if you didn't have anything behind it, then it's
Behind
just
it is supposed to be the divine masculine. That's what's supposed to be behind it. Where the fuck is that? Because I'm so tired of people telling women that they're fucking emotional, and then there's nothing steady behind them.
Mhm. Sure.
Nothing. So it's just like, oh, here we go. Hysterical women just pissed off about fucking babies. We're just going to drink coffee and talk about it in a fucking coffee shop. Like, seriously.
Yeah, no, it's all part of the system that's been propped up. It's all
Wow.
part of the
I
system that's
just,
been
it's like,
developed, because it's also been those emotional. So, and we can probably take men and women out of it, and the emotional reactions to situations, which has put the logical into a place that it's not even welcome in society anymore.
I totally disagree with that.
How so?
Because everything's done logically. Everything's run. The world is run by men.
Not
So we've been in fucking logic.
think about the traumatic things that have been happening over the last 20 years, let's say, in the 2000s. And we can go specifically in the United States, or wherever. But whenever there's an outrage mob, whenever there are things that happen that then are used to produce results, to produce a change in the system, or the progression of the system, those are all things that are instantly based on emotion. And then a bunch of stuff happens, and then years sometimes later, it's like, oh, wait, no, that wasn't the situation, because we all reacted emotionally to a video, to a story, to an event, and made sweeping changes with stuff. And then when the dust settled, when you look back on it, it's like, oh, wait, no, that wasn't correct. We we got emotional about a situation rather than thinking about what's actually going on with that situation. But by that time, we're 5 situations beyond that. That's why nothing's happening with COVID, because COVID's so long ago, nobody cares anymore. There's a few people that care, but nobody in general, the masses, don't care because they're not having the emotional feeling of I have to put a mask on. So
Okay, I understand that, but I still am like, then where's the strong, stoic men?
we're called xenophobic, homophobic, racist,
Well, it's time
all
to
the
man up.
phobics.
It just is. And if you're just standing alone, someone's got to stand, because it can't just be, oh, all this emotion, all this, oh, emotional women and or whatever people. Okay, but right? Like,
Well,
it can't just be all that and then everyone going, "Oh, you're just emotional," and no one actually having the balls to stand up, or men coming together, right? And standing up and saying, "No, we're gonna deal with this logically. We understand the logic and we understand the emotion, because women are emotional beings and men are more logical, and together we're a powerhouse." Um, but they don't work in unity anymore. It's like this pendulum of, okay, nothing but emotion, or nothing but I'm only going to use logic because I am Ben Shapiro. I just, you know what I mean? Like,
I
and
do.
that,
I don't agree with you.
that's okay. You don't have to.
I know.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, I don't have to.
No, you don't.
No, because we are so driven by emotion in this society, and it's emotion from the people in middle management. It's emotion from the people in district court judges that are saying, I don't like you. I feel bad about the way you speak, so I'm going to let this criminal out because that's against you. I I feel icky about telling somebody that they're illegal, so we can't do that. So we're going to let them out of jail. We're not going to enforce laws. We're not going to do those things. And it's people in a position of power, in middle management power, that that make decisions based on emotion.
Okay.
So if you're talking about, where are the logical men, where are the strong men that are going to rise up, it's going to be fucking ugly. That's the thing that people don't really fully grasp, is when you have the pendulum swinging so far, even to get back to the middle, it's going to be fucking drastic. And I don't know that society is prepared for that.
Okay. Well, they weren't prepared for baby eating either. So
I would argue
it's
they're more prepared for that
maybe.
because that's been
Maybe.
going
I
on
don't know.
forever.
Yeah, I don't know if I would
So,
argue that. So, question for you.
mhm.
How does the everyday average man who wants to walk in his divine masculine, which is totally different from beer chugging, tar hutton, whatever, okay? How, how does he make a change? Obviously, it starts at home with the family, right? Like, what can the man do? Talk to your men folk, because that needs to happen, because it can't just be we have all this feminine rage that has nowhere to go because we don't have our helpmate helping us direct that rage. Like, we need that. That's what we need. Where do we direct this? And what is it? What's your job as the divine masculine to help mitigate that situation? Because it's a fucking situation right now. It just is.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, it'd be amazing if I had better answers for you. But, I would say the cheesy answer, but I firmly believe this: go to the fucking gym. You've got to find your own divine masculine in yourself. And that doesn't happen if you're out of shape. It doesn't happen if you're lazy. It absolutely, I would echo what you were saying earlier. You got to look in. You got to fix yourself. Not fix. That's not even the right way to say it. But you got to work on yourself.
Yeah.
That for one. For two, it's a fascinating concept to me and one that I really struggle with. And it kind of touches on things that we've talked about in other podcasts, but the the feminine rage that you're talking about is not the divine feminine.
Right. I would
So
so agree with that.
the divine masculine doesn't exist without the divine feminine.
Okay.
And I would say that goes one way. There's a little bit of nuance, but in general, the divine masculine relies on the divine feminine.
Right. And same with the divine feminine relying on the divine masculine. So what I would say,
Disagree with you,
okay,
but go
well,
ahead.
let's go back because you said something really interesting and I think we should clarify. I am speaking on behalf of divine feminine rage. The rage out there that is just rage, women, who haven't done any of their inner work, are triggered by every little thing, who find offense, who are victims. I'm not talking about that rage. That rage is sporadic and loses focus. Like one day they hate everyone associated with ICE. The next day they hate everyone who's, wearing a MAGA hat. And then the next day they hate Jeffrey Epstein,
Mhm.
right? Like that's just fragmented rage. So divine feminine rage is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And we need the divine masculine. We can't even be in our feminine fully unless we have the safety of masculine.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Otherwise, the pendulum is way over to the masculine side in the divine, what we're talking about right now.
Right. So what I'm saying though, with what I said, is it really goes one way. What I mean by that is what's gonna happen is, even if you've got the divine feminine in that divine feminine rage, and thank you for clarifying, because
Yeah,
that makes
that's
sense.
way different.
That's going to exist. The divine feminine is going to exist no matter what. I think you will find more power and more efficacy
Mm-hmm.
with the divine feminine when you have the divine masculine there to support.
Mm-hmm.
But the divine feminine is, by nature, you're going to want to spread it. You're going to want to show it, to vocalize it, whatever that is. Because that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right? The divine masculine, if there's no support from the divine feminine, so let's just, if you got the divine feminine and there's no support from the divine masculine, the divine feminine still exists. If there's the other way around, you've got the divine masculine, the strong, stoic, that guy, and there's no support from the divine feminine, that guy disappears.
That's very true.
He goes
Yeah.
and lives his divine masculine life, but he goes and lives in the fucking woods by himself.
Yeah.
He turns in and is like, I don't care. I'm not going to talk to you anymore. The divine feminine is going to continue talking, is going to continue trying, is going to continue working through trying to do whatever they're trying to do. The divine masculine says, fuck this, I'm out.
So really what we're saying, if you want to change the world, then you, listener, need to figure out, number one, what the fuck is the divine masculine? What? It's not drinking beer and sitting on my ass all the time and talking shit about
Being a
people.
bitch.
And telling my bitch to go make me a turkey pot pie? What? And the divine feminine also needs to understand what her role is. But it's harder for her when she does not have the safety that is a requirement for her to walk in full divine femininity.
Yes. So the divine masculine, so really, and to piggyback on your point, it it obviously takes both.
It
It
yeah,
takes
it
both.
does.
But the guy, what you can do, guy, right now is because you cannot even pretend to live in the divine masculine if you haven't worked on yourself.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, stoicism and true inner strength and strength to help other people. We talk about it all the time. You can't love somebody else if you don't love yourself. You can't
You can't help someone if you can't help yourself. You can't anything.
the oxygen mask thing.
Yeah.
Right. You got to put your oxygen mask on, and then you got to be prepared.
Yep.
You got to be prepared. So when you have the opportunity with a divine feminine, because the reality is the divine feminine is going to be the leader. That's the reality of when these things mesh together and live in what they can live in. The divine feminine is the leader. The divine masculine is the support structure.
Yeah, the rock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I absolutely, just because of the intuition that comes with divine femininity.
Absolutely.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah. So that's what the solution is. Is that what we're talking about right here? We're talking about, working on weird. When we started this podcast, I was like, okay, we're going to talk about Epstein and how there's just this feminine rage and
Yeah.
no, fucked up it is. And here we just like circled all the way back to, guess what, people? You gotta fucking work on yourself.
Really what it is.
Yeah. The death of the ego.
Mhm.
That is what needs to happen. Ego deaths in the population.
And then I would say, and maybe this can be for another podcast, but when that happens, and the caveat of you're never fully there, it's always gonna be whatever. But when that happens, and especially when you unite the divine feminine and divine masculine, then it's the opportunity to fight.
Oh, totally.
Then it's the opportunity to now we're going now we're gonna go make changes.
Yeah, an energetic force that is insane would be those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you for chatting with me about this. I feel after this, in my rage dance yesterday, I feel much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would just say it seems like we probably have a follow on to this one of really diving in to the divine masculine and divine feminine, because that is next level shit that, like we said, that can change the world.
For sure. Absolutely. Yay. Well, thank you for listening, everyone. I hope that you stay off of the news. And I'm saying that for myself. Like, I have to stop it. I told myself that 2 days ago because, it just, it grows like a parasite in your soul. And so if you've allowed that to happen with this situation, rage dance. It's so good. Like it felt so good to just mosh pit my hair. Yeah. Do that, move all that stagnant energy, and then clean it up and deal with your own self, because that's really how you change the world.
And if you have any thoughts, let us know. We'd love to hear from you.
Send Clint a message. Someone, please send him a message. Ask some questions. All right. Thank you for listening.
Talk to you soon.